What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sound Off. I am Mr. Sound Off. This is the Sound Off podcast for week 3 of my NFL predictions. We're here pretty early on still in the season, but we got a whole lot of interesting matchups to go over, including tonight's game. Obviously, we're starting off with the Dolphins at the Bills in Buffalo. I believe that the Bills are going to win this game here. You will see my prediction here is obviously Bills winning 35-27. I think the Dolphins try to get things right. I think they're going to be able to score some points in this game. But I think really it's going to be the Bills really handling this pretty easily. Probably a garbage time touchdown from the Dolphins to even make it a little bit closer. But I got Bills over Dolphins 35-27. Then we go into this weekend's matchups, starting with the Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. Panthers, pretty garbage team so far. Falcons look like they're a whole lot better on defense than a whole lot of people really believed in. Go and watch my other videos. I'm going to go over talking about the Falcons. I have from the beginning as far as my power rankings, where I believe in that team and believe that they are a good, solid team. And, you know, I think the offense is still actually waiting to catch up. We'll see if Michael Penix gets it going here in this game, because Carolina is really not that great on offense or defense. I think they're able to have their way with them pretty easily, 27-10 Falcons. Next game after that's the Green Bay Packers versus the Cleveland Browns. This is actually one of those trap games that the Packers have to look out for. They just came off of 2 big wins off of, a rival in the Lions, and then the Commanders, who were in the playoffs last year, riding high. Everyone believing big things on the Commanders coming into this season. And it was a quick Thursday game. All of a sudden here you have the longer turnaround time before in between last Thursday's game and this game here. They also go and play the Cowboys next week. You better believe Mike is going to be looking at that game for next week. So this could possibly be that trap game where you're not really looking at the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, you're having to go travel, all those kind of things there. Plus, Tucker Kraft looks like he got dinged up today in practice. So Tucker Kraft, the Packers tight end, might not be playing this weekend. They're already out, I believe, 2 of their starting offensive linemen. Jaden Reed obviously got injured in last week's game. So, a lot of things, could be going right for the Browns in this game. That being said, I think our defense for the Green Bay Packers is still too good. I think the Packers are going to win this game 23-10. And I think it'll only get to a bigger score or a bigger deficit than that, a bigger gap for the Packers if they get some big turnovers, pick six, those kind of things there, and their defense is really scoring points for them or turning the ball over, in the red zone, in the Browns territory, that kind of thing there. But I think the Packers still do find a way to get this done here in this game. Next one after that, we have the Texans at the Jags. And I think that the Texans, we're still waiting to see them play their best ball. CJ Stroud, has he really been the same guy since he brought their team to the playoffs 2 years ago? I mean, they were there last year, but not really the same type of season. I think they were more defense really than anything last year. And this year, their defense seems to be right there again. I think their defense is going to be the reason again why they win this game. I don't think the Jaguars have quite put it all together yet. Jaguars not as good on defense. Maybe they're still waiting to see exactly how to use Brian Thomas and Hunter out there as well. I think the Texans win this game in kind of a close one, 20-13. The next one after that, we got the Bengals visiting the Vikings up in Minnesota. You're going to see, I think, a tough matchup, a really tight game, I think, all game long. I think it's going to be going back and forth with this one. Vikings looks like they're going to be on their backup quarterback, which is Carson Wentz. Sure, he's had a pretty rough career, but at one point he was, almost an MVP lock, or at least an MVP candidate. So, the skills there. A lot of people go there to O'Connell and get right. So he's there. He hasn't been there for a long time, but I expect him to still have a pretty decent game. He might be having some rust, but I don't think he's going to be horrible in this game. I think Jake Browning is one of the most underrated backup quarterbacks, I should say, in the NFL, and he still has the two-headed monster out there, the wide receiving group. Their tight ends are solid. They got Chase Brown running back, so they have all the offensive pieces. And I think the Vikings are a good, solid, really, really good defense. But I think the Bengals, I think that's just how they run and gun. They don't really rely upon their defense at all. So I still think they're going to score some points. I think this game is going to come down to a game-winning field goal by the Cincinnati Bengals, and Jake Browning from down the street here in Folsom, one of my old rival high schools I used to play against. At Folsom there, Jake Browning leads the Bengals to a win 24-23 over the Minnesota Vikings. After that, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers visiting the New England Patriots. And I think with this here, everyone's wondering, I'm at least, wondering when is the Pittsburgh Steelers defense going to finally arrive? When are they going to show something? Because so far, remember last year with Russ even on their team, their defense is really the ones that kind of not necessarily gave up, but really was the bad side of the ball for the Steelers those last few weeks, last quarter of the season or so. That trend is continuing to go this year here as well. They still don't really have any running game. So if your defense is bad, you don't have the running game, that puts a lot of pressure on my guy Aaron Rodgers. But I don't think the Patriots are quite there yet. They have the most free agents brought in out of any team in the NFL. They still have a young quarterback. I think that this is the week for their defense finally to step up a little bit. It's not like they're going to go crazy on the Patriots and have them only score one touchdown or 6 points or something like that there. But I think the Steelers are able to squeak this one out 23-16 on the road. After that, we have a big matchup with the Rams at the Eagles. Revisiting the playoff game from last year, and I think this is going to be one of the highlight games of the week. I don't think it's going to be a ton of scoring in this game. I think it's going to be a lot more defense. Eagles defense has not been super solid so far. Rams defense has, but both these teams also definitely can score the ball. All right, so even though both defenses, can be good, Eagles defense obviously last year and in the Super Bowl they were phenomenal. I think they're both going to be keeping this game intact, keeping it close, back and forth game throughout the whole thing there. And I think Matthew Stafford gets it done this year. Game-winning touchdown at the end of the game with, by the way, my prediction is a quick out to Davante Adams for the win for the Rams. That's 24-20 Rams over the Eagles. Next game after that, we have the Jets visiting the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Bucks, combination of them being a good team, having a good quarterback, a solid franchise. I've been saying this for years. When Brady went there, they already had probably the most solid roster in the NFL. They were a game away from making the playoffs with a quarterback who had the most turnovers ever in NFL history. That was the Bucks. And by the way, he went there, and then they brought in Antonio Brown, and brought in Gronk, and then they brought in Leonard Fournette. They brought in all these other guys too. All right, some of those guys, by the way, none of those guys I just mentioned, but a lot of the guys that the Bucks actually had drafted and developed are still there, Vita Vea and things like that there. So really solid team. Obviously Mike Evans. Really solid team in a horrible division. And then when they play games out of the division, they get the Jets. All right, they're going to beat the Jets here in this game. I think Justin Fields has actually maybe found a place. I think, he might turn into a decent quarterback for the Jets. I don't think their defense is as good as it was a couple years ago. So Bucks are able to take advantage of that. It's also going to be down there in Tampa Bay. So the Bucks are going to take advantage of the home field and win this game 28-20 over the visiting Jets. Next after that, we have Indiana Jones, the Indianapolis Colts visiting the Titans. Colts with the guy I also coached down the street here, one of my other rivals, even probably my bigger rival high school at Oak Ridge, family members, friends, those kind of things there. And Shane Steichen, awesome coach, one of the best coaches in the NFL, is getting things done with Danny Dimes, all right? Turn him into Indiana Jones all of a sudden. That's pretty good when you get someone to have a whole new nickname, and the nickname is that good. The Colts have been really good so far this year. Their defense, I actually thought, was the thing that was going to carry them throughout this year, even though they do have an offensive mastermind in Shane Steichen. I thought their defense was well underrated. I don't think they're like a crazy good, like top 5 defense type thing, but they're good enough to beat the Titans. And I think Shane and Danny Dimes there, Indiana Jones, are going to be able to score enough. I don't think they're going to continue it where they don't punt at all in this game. I think they will, punt the ball 1, 2, 3 times in this game, something like that there. But they'll do good enough. I don't think Cam is quite ready yet to be taking over and winning this game here, even though it is in Tennessee. Kind of a lower scoring game, though, 23-16. Colts over the Titans. Next one after that, I have the Las Vegas Raiders at the Washington Commanders. And on this one here, I think I'm going to go with the Raiders, all right, to actually win this game. I never know what to say about the Raiders. The Raiders win games that they shouldn't win, and they lose games they should win, right? That's been the Raiders, I feel like, honestly, for like the last 20 years. And this game is maybe another one of those ones. I think the team's a whole lot better than they were last year. So I'm interested to see them really start to kind of click and get going. I like their coach. I like Geno on there. I don't think Geno's phenomenal, but I like him. I think he's a good quarterback. Love me some Max Crosby. But I think that the Raiders pull out this game 23-20 over the Washington Commanders. I think Max Crosby is going to be a menace on the field there. And then we're also going to have to see, did not having McLaurin over training camp and them going through contract negotiations, is that the issue for the Commanders? Is Daniels dinged up? I know they were saying he was a little dinged up. Possibility that he might not play in this game. I think he will play in this game here. But is he dinged up? Is that the issue? Or did the league figure out Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders? I always talk about this year 2 with these quarterbacks. There's a ton of them out there right now. There was, 5, I think, starting quarterbacks, rookies last year. And so Jayden Daniels obviously had the most success. I'm not saying he's playing terribly, but all of a sudden you start going into their season and you start looking at these losses and things like that there, and you start having to wonder, what's wrong possibly with the Commanders going forward. Speaking of a second-year quarterback, we have another one. The next game, we have Broncos visiting the LA Chargers. I want to say San Diego still, but LA Chargers. And then I'm going with the Chargers in this game. I think their defense is too good. I think Justin Herbert's too good. Herb's also from not too far away here in Elk Grove. Shelton played against them as well. Man, all these guys. There's a ton of guys from California now. All of a sudden, Josh Allen's from California as well. Although he was a little further away. I didn't play against him at all. Or I didn't play against any of these guys. I didn't play against the school at all. Anyways, Broncos at Chargers. I'm going with Chargers in this one here, 27-16. Also, year 2 for Bo Nix. Our team's figuring him out as well. Is their team not as good as everyone thought they were, including myself? I thought they were a good, solid team. I was worried about Bo Nix being in that second year. I thought he had a good season the first year. Is he going to rise and be even better, or is he going to stay the same, or a team's going to figure him out and he's going to dip down a little bit? We'll have to see here. But if they lose this game and they only put up 16 points or so and he looks pretty bad, in that game, those narratives will start going, start being thought of going forward here. After that, we have the Saints at the Seahawks. Saints, what are they? Possibly the worst team in the NFL. And remember, last year, they started off 2-0, scoring the most points, one of the highest point totals ever in NFL history or something like that for the first 2 games. That was because of the opponents they played in those first 2 games. They were horrible the rest of the season. Obviously, now they don't have Derek Carr. It's one of the things that I worry about with the Indianapolis Colts. Who you played, who you beaten, that kind of thing there. I expect the Colts, like I said, to win this game and be 3-0, but then you look back at their wins, who's it going up against, so you got to start putting together some wins against some better teams. I think the Colts are better than that Saints team, but just saying the Saints now are probably the worst team in the NFL, I believe. And they're going to Seattle, one of the toughest places to play on the road. Seahawks have a good, solid defense, capable offense up there. I think that's going to be one of your most lopsided games of the weekend. I have Seahawks win that game 33-13 over the Saints. After that, we go to the Cowboys at the Bears. I've been saying this also in my power rankings. Again, go and view my power rankings here for week 3, or go back to week 1. Sorry, everyone, I did have to miss week 2 with those power rankings and my picks, but go back and look at those. Cowboys are one of my dark horse teams. Maybe not necessarily to make the playoffs, but to be a good, solid, competitive team. I think their offense is legit. Their defense is not very legit, not as good. It's like something is missing, from that defense somewhere. I can't put my finger on it, but I don't know. It's like they have like one big hole that they need to have filled or something like that on the defense for them to be a good, solid, complete team. But I don't know. I'll try to figure it out one of these days here. Also, Cowboys, I have winning this game 37-29 over the Bears. I don't think I've been hearing many people talk about actually how bad the Bears defense is. I remember who they've had basically there in Chicago forever has been defensive guys, all right? Their defensive coaches have been making their defense a whole lot better than maybe, not necessarily what they are, but they've been making them a good, solid defense for a few years now. Now you're starting to wonder, I am at least, is that defense, are the players there that good of a defense without great coaching on the defensive side of the ball? I'm not really necessarily saying Caleb has a great game because I already said that the Cowboys defense is pretty horrible, but I think he has a pretty decent game against a horrible defense that keeps it close. But again, like I said, Cowboys I think are winning this game. I think both teams put up a whole bunch of points. Cowboys are able to put up a lot of points against anyone. 37-29 Dallas in that game there. Then we go into the Cardinals visiting the San Francisco 49ers. This game here might change if Brock Purdy is able to play in this game here. I do think that he's, a difference maker. I'm a, maybe a big believer or a believer at least in Brock Purdy. I think he's, for sure, like in the top 10 quarterbacks, one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. So I do believe that he makes a difference. He's a lot more mobile, agile than people give him credit for. And I think that'll be the biggest thing between him and Mac Jones. As far as that agility, how he's able to get around, scramble, those kind of things, make plays. 49ers seem to be a little bit banged up, though. I think Cardinals are going to be able to come in and actually put it on them here in this game. It's going to be a close game, but if Brock's not in there, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Cardinals in a 27-20 win over the San Francisco 49ers. After that, we go to the Sunday night game where we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the New York Giants. This is one of those get-right games for the Kansas City Chiefs. And in that get-right game, it still is going to take them, I think, until the fourth quarter and a come-from-behind touchdown drive from Patrick Mahomes, orchestrating an awesome drive for them to win this game. A lot of people know the Giants have a good, solid defense. I think they do as well. I think they're young, so I think they're kind of coming together and becoming that solid defense. I also don't think that Russ is going to throw for 400, 500 yards like he did versus the Cowboys. I think that was also bad scheming and personnel that the Cowboys have. So I think that that's going to be a whole lot closer there than what the Cowboys were doing for that game. But I think that the Chiefs come back and get that touchdown late in that game to come from behind and win that game 27-23 on the road at the New York Giants. And then our last game of the week, the Monday Nighter, Detroit Lions at the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar's scary good, everyone. If you don't know that already, he's gotten a whole lot better at his passing throughout, the last 3-4 years, really. And Lamar is always scary good, really, during the regular season. His issues constantly been the playoffs. So we'll have to see. They're going to be in the playoffs again this year. But he's scary good. Lions are really good on offense as well. I think it was game one. They had a new coordinator, those kind of things there. I think the Packers are really good defense as well. So I don't think they're going to be necessarily ever as bad as they were week one versus the Packers the whole rest of the season on offense. But I do think that the Ravens also, we have to start talking about, is their defense up to par? How good is their defense to keep up with that offense? Kind of like the Bills for me. Bills score a ton of points on offense. How's that defense looking this year? Those things, might come into play against some really good teams, might come into play during the playoffs, those kind of things there. But I think this game being on the road in Baltimore, and Lamar there in Baltimore versus a kind of a poor defense in the Lions, that's my opinion there. I think the Ravens pull this one off 42-35 over the Detroit Lions. So everyone, those are my predictions, my pick for week 3 here. 3 in the NFL season. Thank you everybody for joining the podcast here today, the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your opinions on my picks. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What are you most looking forward to watching in the games this week? What are some of your predictions? Those kind of things there. Like I said, check out my power rankings as well. Come back, keep checking out the channel for Sound Off. And I am Mr. Sound Off. Thank you, everybody, and have a great weekend.